So the effect of increasing excitation, the maximum power that can be delivered increases. The real power is unchanged and the power angle decreases. So as we are increasing the excitation, it means we are increasing the reactive power. So there will be no impact onto the real power and it becomes unchanged. Because real power is the function of the power input, which is the mechanical power to the alternator. Uh, as a result of increasing excitation, the power angle is going to reduce or decrease. About increases to increase the transmission line capacity. So this is the alternator which is connected to terminal bus, and through this it is connected to the infinite bus with the two parallel transmission lines. So if you want to increase the transmission capacity, we may opt for sort of parallel lines which is connected in between two buses. So they can able to share, and they can able to share the power which will be get transferred from terminal bus to infinite bus. So when there is two parallel lines, the effective reactance is going to reduce, and as a result of that, if denominator is going to reduce, that is, let's say, so when we have two parallel lines, x is going to reduce because of lines are connected in parallel, and as a result of that, when x is going to reduce, the power transmission capacity, that is P, is going to increase, and as a result the transmission capacity is going to increase. We can see this from these two power angle curve. So this is P2, where we won't have the two parallel lines. When we have two parallel lines, so when we have single line which will transmit the power from one bus to another bus, at that point of time, V into EF divided by XS plus XL into sine of delta. So when we have two parallel lines connected in between two buses, so equation will be V into EF divided by XS plus 0.5 XL. So transmission line reactance is going to reduce by half into sine delta. Therefore, the power transfer capability of the transmission line will be increased. For the dynamic stability assessment, we have different methods. So, which includes time domain solution, energy margins, equal area criteria, eigenvalues, and pattern recognition. Let's see time domain solution. The time domain solution or method seeks to set up to solve a differential equations that describes the motion of machine connected to the system. It has advantage like direct numerical integration can provide accurate information on the stability of the system. As well, due to this, the numerical integration is performed in each time interval, and for this, it is the time consumed is very large, and it will very slow sort of analysis or assessment. So this is a graphical representation of the same. Then the next method is equal area criteria. This method represents the kinetic energy gained or lost due to the oscillations. This is the graphical method for the transient stability analysis, that is DSA. If the deceleration energy is equal or larger than the acceleration energy, the system is stable. Let's see this equal area criteria in detail. So kinetic energy, let's see these are the mathematical expressions for the kinetic energy. So kinetic energy is represented by this, and it is proportional to the square of the speed. The change in the kinetic energy delta K is also proportional to the change in the speed square of the speed. So assume, let's see how this method work or how to utilize this particular method for transient stability analysis. So assume a sudden increase in mechanical energy to the generator. So as already we have seen one of the case, in that also there is a sudden increase in mechanical input. Now the system is initially operating around point 1, and because of sudden increase in mechanical energy to the generator, it is going to shift towards the point 2. After that, to release the gain kinetic energy, it moves from point 2 to point 3, and as increased or gained kinetic energy becomes 0, it will once again shift from point 3 to point 2 and from 2 to 1. Like as it will continue, and it will get stabilized around point 2 as already we have seen. Now we'll analyze this. So acceleration kinetic energy delta KEA, which has been expressed by this particular equation, delta KEA is equals to K into E2 minus K into E1, which is approximately equal to N2 square minus N1 square. So N2 square means the speed when there is a change in the mechanical input energy, and N1 is the speed before the sudden change in the mechanical increase in power. The accelerated kinetic energy delta KED, delta KEA is the acceleration kinetic energy, and delta KED is the deaccelerated kinetic energy. So for the condition of the stability, so this is the equation for the deaccelerated kinetic energy. This is the equation for the accelerated kinetic energy. So for to have a stable operation, both of the energies, that is acceleration kinetic energy, has to be equal to the accelerated deaccelerated kinetic energy. That is shown by this particular expression. Delta KED deaccelerated energy is equals to delta KEA, that is accelerated kinetic energy. This has been expressed by once again same equation is been written here. Delta KED is equals to delta KEA, so which is nothing but N2 square minus N3 square is equals to N2 square minus N1 square, so which is nothing but N3 is equals to N1. Since N1 is equals to Ns, N3 is equals to Ns. So initial speed is equal to the synchronous speed. Therefore, N3 is also equal to the synchronous speed as per this proved equation, which is N1 is equals to N3. For the equilibrium criteria, to find out the power imbalance, we have a formula. So integration ranging from T1 to T2, Pm2 minus P dt is equals to KEA, and for the acceleration, the accelerated kinetic energy, it is integration ranging from T2 to T3, P minus Pm2 dt is equals to KED. Since n minus ns is equals to d delta by dt, that is change in the speed, therefore 1 upon delta n integration from delta 1 to delta 2 Pm2 minus P d delta is equals to KEA, and 1 upon delta n integration ranging from delta 2 to delta 3, which is a respective delta P minus Pm2 d delta is equals to KD. For the stability, as already we have seen, the acceleration kinetic energy has to be equal to the deaccelerated kinetic energy. Therefore, we will have an equation like this, that is accelerated kinetic energy is equals to deaccelerated kinetic energy. So if you solve this, we will get equation like acceleration area is equals to deacceleration area, that is AA is equals to AD. AA represents the acceleration area whenever there is a sudden increase in power, mechanical power rather, and deacceleration area it, is the area when the system is going to reach the point 3 and once again coming back to release the gained kinetic energy, that is AD. So for the stability, AA is equals to AD, that is acceleration area is equals to the deacceleration area. So in this power angle curve, this is what AA, which is the acceleration area, and whatever acceleration has been gained, whether that much amount of acceleration is released from point 2 to 3 or not. If it is released and if it is 0, then we can say that system is stable. If the acceleration area, that is, if AA is greater than AD, the system will not stable either. Or when AD, deacceleration area, is greater than the acceleration area, in this case also system will not be stable. So this is what I was mentioning about the unstable system. So when area, acceleration area is not equals to the deacceleration area, in this case, you can clearly identify the area AA is much greater as compared to area AD. Therefore, whatever acceleration gained by the system will not released in the deacceleration area or released as a deacceleration energy. Therefore, some energy will remain with the system which can unstable the whole system. So this is general stability condition for the alternator or the system, that is acceleration area uh, has to be equal to the deacceleration area. Okay. Now next condition is when a breaker will get open. So at that point of time, what will happen? This is also a sort of disturbance or transient condition which we have in the system. So this is the system is considered for this case, that is open breaker. So assume that the CV is open for a short time here. So in this case, generator is supplying to the terminal bus and it will be supplied to the infinite bus through the transmission line. So when there is opening of a breaker, uh, under this case also, when area acceleration area is greater than deacceleration area, then then and then only the system can maintain its stability, else it will lose the stability. So when there is an opening of breaker, let's see the sequence of events. So system is working under the normal condition at point A. When breaker is open, the power delivered will be 0. So for some time period, it will continue, and at delta C, it will be once again closed, means breaker contacts are closed. So it is going to once again shift towards point 2. So whatever the energy has been gained, so is it been released till point 3 or not, that it has been seen. So this is what acceleration area and this is the deacceleration area. So if the area, that is acceleration area, is equals to deacceleration area, system can maintain the stability, else system will be unstable. Let's see one new term, which is critical clearing angle. The critical clearing angle is the maximum angle for a stable system, that is when maximum acceleration area is equals to the minimum deceleration area. So in the previous diagram also we have seen it very clearly, the critical clearing angle. So this is what expressed here also. Once again, I will tell you definition. The critical clearing angle delta CR, this is the delta CR, is the maximum angle for a stable system when acceleration area is maximum, but which is equals to the deceleration area, which is at the minimum. So these are what some mathematical expressions for to calculate critical clearing angle. So for this, we'll refer the formula for to calculate acceleration area, which is equals to integration from delta 1 to delta critical Pm minus P d delta, which is also equals to delta 1 to delta Cr Pm minus 0, because as breakers are get opened, the power delivered will be the 0. Therefore, Pm into bracket delta Cr minus delta 1. Whereas deceleration minimum area is equals to from delta Cr to delta 3, which is nothing but pi minus delta 1 Pm minus P d delta, which is equals to P max into cos of delta Cr plus cos delta 1 minus Pm into the bracket pi minus delta 1 minus delta Cr. For the stable system, acceleration area is equals to the deceleration area, and therefore finally we can derive the formula for the critical clearing angle, that is delta cos of delta C in terms of cos delta Cr, and from this we can able to calculate the critical clearing angle. So I can say that delta Cr is equals to cos inverse of pi minus 2 delta 1 sine delta 1 minus cos delta 2. Let's see the margins, energy margins. The energy margin to predict the transient behavior of the power system without having to conduct a complete time domain simulation. The values of energy function is calculated and compared with the critical value to determine the stability. Accurate only when the operating point is within the region of the energy function. Because of the approximation in the energy function, results are often pessimistic. So before to implement the actual system, it needs us to predict the transient behavior of the power system in the time domain simulation, where we can find out the critical values of different parameters by which we can determine what are the limits of the system stability. So for this, we have different steps. So first, we'll calculate the transient energy at the instant the disturbance is cleared. We will determine the critical energy for the current disturbance, and we will calculate the transient energy margin. So by which we can able to analyze or assess the transient limits of the power system, which will be very helpful to maintain the system within the stable region or stable criteria. So this is all about the power system stability. Thank you.